Interesting thing when people know you is that sometimes the tractor hunt comes to you. Well, for today's project, we will probably only be looking at this one. But stick around and we'll probably take a look at the two John Deeres. This is just parts. But that's what we'll tinker with today. I know the John Deere people are going to get mad at me. Well, if you're a John Deere purist, I would suggest you stop watching this video right now. Because if I'm right, that 2004 John Deere and this late 2000s Craftsman are the exact same deck. One thing about this generation of John Deere wannabe MTD tractors is they always have some of the most comical riggery in it. And this one is no exception whatsoever. The deck is about 6 different colors. It is horrifically rusted out in the rear of it, so I am assuming nobody ever actually fixed any rust in it. And they just painted it every year hoping it would hold together. These things have tons of very stupid babysitter electronic switches in them. And so I always find interesting extra switches and buttons in them, like this one, with direct cranking battery amperage stuff going to it. Before we go too far, I made the notation that every bolt or screw is missing or loose on this, and this is loose. So let's see here. That's not as bad as it could be. We've got our rectifier over here that is really corroded, that'll probably clean up. We do have a kill wire that obviously isn't going to do us any good. That's been rat food. And yeah, that's got rust growing down in there. Alright, let's just wallop this thing because these engines are really hard to kill unless the pump has something go wrong or a mouse eats the coil wire. They usually always run. So we've got our GOOLOO 3000 here. We've got our Valvoline starter fluid. This stuff that comes from Tractor Supply, I don't know what's in it, but it works better than anything else. So let's hit the boost button and choke on starter fluid. No kill wire to mess us up, and give it a wallop. These engines always amaze me. Why did Kohler go away from these? They're just unkillable. Sorry about the noise. We switched over to an always active booster pack because I've got to see if this push button actually turns this thing over. So choke on, go-go juice, switch to the on-run position. Okay, that should have kicked, so let's disconnect the kill wire. Because I'm betting there's probably a safety switch that's mad at life. Go-go juice, choke on, push button, start. That's a riot. Infrared thermometer, solenoid in the bottom of the carburetor. This Kohler has one of the solenoids that is known to catch the tractor on fire. Because when they fail, like this one has, you literally cannot touch it with your fingers. So ambient temperature right now is about probably 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, when the solenoid gets hit with electricity, it does generate a little bit of heat. So if the ambient temperature is about 57, we should expect to see the solenoid when it's got power at about 60 or so. $141, 140, I think we saw 145. Yeah, so we're going to let that one cool down, and we're going to pop it out of there and just cut that tip right off of there. And what I'm referring to is cutting this tip off so that it operates just like a good old-fashioned carburetor. Cast your votes on what you think they put in the gas tank, because I was about to put gas in, and I'm going to see if I can get this in so you guys can see it. It is blue. Whatever liquid is in there is blue. But anyways, I took the solenoid off, and the gas that came out of that is way too new. The oil is way too new for its own good. The gas tank is not filled with sludge, but yet the battery is from 2008. So somebody tried to revive this thing recently. Now, we need to get this pump to kick over gas all the way from the rear because we ended up draining out everything. So we're going to hook this up. We have our kill wire disconnected because we have figured out there's some sort of safety switch that is not happy with life, but we already knew that. So at this point, we're going to give it some starter fluid just to see if we can get it to start and cycle the pump. And then we'll see if it picks up any gas. The fact that I found the gas line seems to be monkey with, not holding the high hopes here. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that spark just there, but that was the fact that this is monkeyed up. So what it's going to come down to is right now I have it on the run position. So what that tells me right now is either the brake safety switch is bad or the blade engagement safety switch is bad, because that should be off right now. It should only be on if you do that, but they can get shorted. There's another safety switch that's underneath the seat. A lot of higher end models will also have a safety switch that's on the reverse bar that can kill things. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because this is one of the ones that has a funky hold me down to mow in reverse button, which is right here. And this button right here can also fail and end up shorting out stuff. Well, imagine that. A 2008 battery refused to desulfate. We tried it twice. Leave me a comment. Do you think desulfating is a waste of time? I'm not really sold on it. So, GOOLOO sent me this S10, and the reason why I agreed to take this thing in and test it was not desulfating. It's because this is one of the few sub $100 units that actually will do large 100 amp hour lithium batteries. And as you guys know, I have my diesel heaters set up on those. So I'll use it. But this has got to be like the 8th battery that I've attempted to desulfate with it. And I think I'm just wasting my time. What do you guys think? Well, John just got home. He's going to evaluate what he thinks of the drop-offs. Oh, did you get blinded by the sun? What do you think? Say what?
Mud mower.
Mud mower? You think they need to be mud mowers?
I wish that one.
This one? You think that should be a mud mower?
Yeah.
Oh.
Add an engine, a seat.
Well, what kind of engine do we need to put in it?
I don't know.
You don't know? John thinks it needs to be a mud mower. You guys throw some comments. What do you think? This is one of those with the really oddball vari-drive system, but I think we could delete it easy enough and maybe throw in a Predator or something. I know that's kind of sacrilege to do with a John Deere, but we'd have to care.
Cool.
It's cool?
It's a glass thing over the...
So which one do you think is cooler? Do you think this one or that one's cooler? This one? You think this one's cooler? Alright, well everybody tell John, do you think this one's cooler or do you think that one's cooler? Which one do you think we should work on next? John would like to be riding his ATV that's over there, but instead he's going to help me for a second, even though it's stupidly cold today. Right now, we've got the positive side crammed into the purple wire on the switch because the purple wire, which goes to the safety switch for the belt engagement, is the ignition wire on this setup, just like a Craftsman. So, John, if you turn that, we will see that we have 12 volts. Now, the problem is, that has to go through the safety switch in here. So if I come down here to the purple wire and I stuff a purple wire on there, I get nothing. So what that tells me is that the safety switch in there is probably the one that's bad and boogering the whole situation. Alright, John, now you can go play with your ATV. That is horrible. Go ahead, show him what else it does. Why? Why in the world does an ATV need a backup thing?
And when you turn it off? Power off.
Yeah, that's just great. Okay, get out of here. The short version here is the whole safety switch electrical is junk. That switch was dead. The brake switch was dead. Judging from the condition of the seat, I'm going to bet that one is dead. I don't usually do the circumvent thing in video, but these are basically a Craftsman chassis style wiring harness, which means that they all use the exact same purple coming out of the ignition switch. So right now we have nothing coming through. John, turn the key. We have 12 volts coming through. So we have a Stens 3-pole style solenoid down here, which is a stupid proof solenoid. It is self-grounding, does not deal with any of the safety switches. So if I undo this, John let go of the ignition. We'll set this down here. And we're going to take this and we're going to plug it into the top of the Stens here. And so we've got positive from the battery coming in here. We've got this coming out through to the starter. And this is our 12 volts coming from the ignition switch. Not the best battery. And crank. You fail. Crank. You don't have to do the brake anymore. We got rid of the brake. There we go.
Wait.
Why didn't it start? It should have started.
Where's the gas pan?
Oh, I know why. Because it's stupid cold here and we didn't have the choke on. Okay, you do not need the brake. Choke all the way on. Okay, let off. Off. Yay!
Where's the gas coming?
The ignition works now.
Where's the gas coming from?
I fixed the gas when you weren't looking.
The gas underneath the seat?
Yeah, the gas tank's underneath the seat in this. And it had blue gasoline in it last I looked.
Oh, here it is.
Alright, so our ignition system is working. Now we can get the fan shroud back on. We can put a lid on the carburetor. And now we can drop this horrifying ugly deck off. This thing is just its own level of amazing. I just, if you had told me that would start one of these, I never would have thought it would. And the custom ends that they made for it. That's just amazing. I'm going to set this aside because who knows, I will probably use it for something. Oh yeah, there's a few holes in that one. In the front here, when we come around, we've got baling twine of some sort, just barely holding this thing in. So we'll get that pulled out of there. Maybe. There's that. I'm gonna bet that that does not help the situation any. So let's thump this out of here. Now, if you do this right, you can one-shot these normally. Just like that. Oh yeah. That's done. Time to go hunting for another deck in the junkyard. There are a lot of similarities, and all of the similarities line up in all the places that really should matter. If you measure from here to the front of the loop, both of them are 18 inches. If you measure across here, both of these are 16 inches. If you measure from the deck engagement cable to the connection where it pulls, both of those are 10 and a half inches. So all three of the primary big time components all are the same. Where we're going to run into issues is they both have the same exact front mount, but the rear mounts are different. So on this one that came off the John Deere, the two mounts are exactly level. On the ones on the Craftsman, the two mounts are at an angle. Now, we can probably just weld a mount higher up, or we can take this plate and we can unbolt it and just weld it where it needs to be potentially. Or bolt it onto the side of that plate maybe. There's a couple of different things we can do there. Oh, I can hear the comment section now. You should have just bolted it up and seen how well it fits. Fine, I did that. As you can see, that is not good belt geometry, and I am in the lowest possible setting right now. So here's the deck height adjuster off the Craftsman. As you can see, it's like a solid 12 inches long. Here's the deck height adjuster on the John Deere that's the older style. That's because the adjustment was done in a sliding bracket right here on the older style deck made by MTD. Now, this is the front sway link that goes right there. And the interesting thing is that hole is in the same exact spot on both decks. And that hole in the frame is the same hole this one goes to on the Craftsman. But for some reason, the John Deere uses a shorter bar. Well, here we go. I can't get the deck to actually go down to the ride height that it originally was, so basically this thing is going to be a really tall 6-inch grass cutter, but that is perfect for my yard if this works, so I'll just use it. So here we go. We got choke fully on. Well, started with that, ended with that. Let's be honest, this is probably not a sellable rig. You can definitely hear when it goes into reverse that hydro has had some hours put on it. The seat obviously has had some hours on it. We did manage to figure out this is a 2004 according to the serial number that's on the back. Both headlights do work. Tires are all holding air. Somebody already tubed out all of them. Craftsman mowing deck. Paint job courtesy of something or other. I'm going to just run it. So by throwing the Craftsman deck on it, I only have those two lower heights available. If I put it up into there, it actually puts the pulley into the frame. But this is potentially a way to get these back up and running, so we did prove that those fit. In total, it's the Craftsman front bar, the lift bar for the John Deere, and the leveling bar for the John Deere equaled level and cutting grass. Well, we don't have any grass to cut this time of year in Maine. We actually had sleet the other morning. But there we go. Everything is up and running. Oil was great. Gas is working. We put a new air filter on it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this was entertaining. Have a good day.